creating content for all the phases of the buyer's journey. We're casting a wide net to bring these people in and then hopefully move them through to an actual intent to purchase point.
Welcome to another episode of the Growth League podcast. I am your host, Caleb Clark, and it's on this show where we are learning from other marketing leaders across various industries and understanding their unique perspectives and experience on some of the main topics, challenges, opportunities, and problems that marketing leaders from across North America experience. I'm here with my special guest today, Rick Nortier. He's the Director of Product Management and Marketing at the Chicago Faucet Company. He has a tremendous amount of experience and background and a very unique transition from engineering world to marketer, and leveraging the unique experiences along the way to craft his playbook and his approach on marketing. I've learned that Rick has had some near close death encounters, which you can share those if you'd like, or if not. And he's actually recently turned into a world-renowned public speaker in high demand. So I joke, of course. So Rick, great to have you. Appreciate you being here.
Hey, Caleb, great to be here. Thank you.
So I want to tee this off by asking, why the Chicago Faucet Company? What was your journey like, and what ultimately attracted you to this role in this company, and most importantly, what's kept you there? What's kept you fascinated about the opportunity?
Well, the bulk of my professional career had been in the commercial plumbing industry. I entered originally, as you mentioned, as an engineer, and I worked for Sloan Valve and worked my way through the engineering ranks over the years to where I got into the role of product manager for their electronic products, largely in part because I was always like that front end of the process, the where everyone calls it the fuzzy front end. It's ill-defined. What are we trying to make? And if you want to frustrate an engineer, you give them incomplete direction, which, a lot of them like. You get to be creative, and how do I solve this problem? But to find out you're solving the wrong problem, and we all want to make stuff and we all want to see it be successful in the marketplace. And so I gravitated to that end of the business more, and really enjoyed that role. That was probably one of my favorite roles, was being a product manager. You're almost like a CEO of the product category. You get to see so much of the sales side, the manufacturing side, very involved with new product development. So it's a very well-rounded position. And I had an opportunity to move on to Siemens Building Technologies, and that was a pure strategic marketing role. And did that for 5 years or so, supporting the building automation, fire, life safety, and security businesses. And that was a lot more strategic, where we were looking at, aside from supporting the sales side, it was more the strategic vision of what's the business going to look like in 10 years or 15 years, and how do we disrupt our own business, and what does that look like? And there were some really interesting exercises we did there. It was a great company, but they're a large company, very much in the matrix, as they say. And then this opportunity at Chicago popped up, and it was interesting for several reasons. I had largely been an independent contributor in all my roles. There were times throughout the years where maybe I had a direct report or two, but this was to come in and take over product management and marketing in an industry I was very familiar with. So, I know the plumbing industry very well, know the products well. So the real challenge here was really becoming that, to leading a team, managing a budget, and the fact that it's more than just marketing. It's I say product management and marketing, we kind of bookend the product development process. Right. So from product development, we're focused on what are the next new products we should be creating. So here we are at that fuzzy front end. what does the market need? What does the customer need? What does that story look like? Feed that into the engineering and R&D teams, kind of help guide it through the process. And then when it comes out, then responsible on the marketing side to then launch it to the market and drive awareness and preference for it. So, and having that team all under me, there really isn't much of a matrix. I've got all that horsepower on my team.
Yeah.
It's not like, well, communications is over here and marketing's over here and it's very streamlined. So that's really what attracted me to it. The fact that they're owned by the Geberit Group out of Switzerland was interesting, because that gives us access to a lot of resources that a company this size wouldn't otherwise have. And since we really don't fit into their portfolio perfectly, we get guidance. We have to tell them what we're doing, but they, by and large, they stay out of our business. We can go about doing what we need to do in our local market.
Yeah.
And when I started, I didn't really think about digital transformation. That wasn't my initial thought. When I came in, it was, hey, everything's set up, it's ready to go. Just, keep it moving. And then there were a series of experiences where I started to realize, yeah, we've got some other work to do around here, and especially on the digital front. I had experience with websites and social media prior to joining here. And so I kind of knew enough to be dangerous, and knew enough that what we were doing wasn't going to help us be as effective as we needed to be.
Right.
And the genesis was, we had a new product that we wanted to bring to market that was outside of our core healthcare and education segments.
Okay.
And it was a more architecturally significant product targeting architects and industrial designers. That's not a group we normally talk to. We talk to plumbing specifiers. We talk to plumbing contractors and facility managers. And found a number of structural deficiencies in the website that needed to be addressed. And the only way to really address them was to build a new website. We had 2 LinkedIn pages. We had 2 Twitter handles. So all of that had to be merged together into one. And so just kind of a lot of building the foundation out and saying, okay, what is this really going to look like now? And so then that was my opportunity to dive in and start, okay, this isn't just going to be status quo. We get to kick the beehive and stir things up.
So if I'm hearing this correctly, and I'm kind of envisioning your pathway, you went from being an individual contributor on marketing and product teams in the past, and then you come into this new scenario where there's resourcing in place. There's almost a blank slate as it relates to different systems and processes that need to be established. And there's the origin of this brand new product that would be marketed into a new segment that you hadn't had access to before. There's certain scenarios that I'm hearing there, which you were unable to leverage some of your past experience to use in this case. It was almost like a new frontier. What were some of the first 90 days thinking that you went through, and how did you approach this sort of blank slate, meaningful opportunity that clearly had some priorities exposed right away as soon as you got in?
Well, part of it was going out to my network of, experts, people I'd worked with in the past that had the experience, and started running some of this by them. And one of them was the company that ended up building our website and helps us maintain it today. I'd worked with them off and on over the prior 7 or 8 years on various projects, and so brought them in to kind of assess the situation. And one of the great things that's happened over the years is software as a service, and that I can go out and rent a tool for a month, 6 months, a year, as well as the expertise.
Hmm.
And so I found external expertise to come in and basically audit where we were to kind of bolster my argument that, I know enough technically that we've got some work to do.
Yeah.
And that just putting a fresh coat of paint on the website, that's not going to attract people. It's all the SEO and it's all the Google Analytics and all that metadata in the background that we found that our site wasn't even set up for, wasn't capable of doing. So how are we ever going to be successful?
Hmm.
And bringing in that external voice, to kind of, it's part of like the change management process to set the
Yeah.
stage for, hey guys, this is a bigger deal than what any of us thought, and it's not the end of the world. How are we going to go about this?
Right.
Um, and so that kind of set the path up for finding the experts, um, to help us. I guess the thing is, being an engineer, I mean, the skill that's very transferable is being a problem solver.
Right.
And I'm kind of one of my, it's kind of a strength and a weakness at the same time. Is I don't always ask a lot of questions. I'm real good at jumping into things and going, yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And then going, all right, well, maybe I should ask a few more questions before I jumped in. But hey, we're going to get in here, and none of this is, not solvable by time, money, or both.
Right. Okay. No, it's funny, my business partner is an engineer, and I've learned over the years, how to present information, how to have a brainstorming or a problem solving conversation, and it stretched my limits personally, and just based on my core makeup and strengths, and put me in a position to be more question asking, gathering of facts, presentation of data to then make informed decisions, which is, engineers are special people and they deserve that little iron ring, uh, more. So before I go too much further, actually, for those listeners that don't know, who the Chicago Faucet Company is, just give me a brief understanding of who you serve and why you guys are positioned in your mind to be the best option.
Well, I think we're the best option, aside from the fact our customers tell us that.
Yeah.
We are a U.S. based pure play faucet manufacturer. That's largely all we do. We do accessories around the faucet,
Mhm.
the stops, soap dispensers. We get into the shower aspect a bit. Our two key markets are healthcare and education, although you can find us, anywhere else from stadiums, malls, rest areas. You'll find us in Starbucks.
Yeah.
But our primary markets are really healthcare and education. We've really just developed an understanding of those markets, and they need something with proven performance, durable, reliable. And when I say healthcare, I mean, we're really in the clinical space. We're at the nurses' stations. We're in the surgical scrub areas,
Mm.
some of the most challenging areas that, you got to have a faucet that works all the time, even down in the patient room. So we've made a conscious decision over the years that there's been some side forays into other aspects of plumbing, and we keep coming back to, there's plenty of other people making sinks, making toilets, and all these other things. We'll leave that to them.
Mm.
We are going to focus on making the best both manual and touchless electronic faucets on the market. And
Sometimes the biggest wins are earned through what you say no to and what you avoid in terms of shiny
yeah,
objects. You know.
yes, it is. And we have to every, once a year or every couple of years, we come back and revisit it. And, it's challenging because, we're also trying to grow.
Right.
But we've made ourselves, as we really try to do, unique and specialized solutions for the healthcare market that
Right.
other manufacturers don't provide.
Okay. When you talked about growth there a little bit, before you said that, my question was going to be, you know, are you guys more so in the mindset of capturing available market share, stealing market share from others, or retaining a healthy market share already? Or is it kind of an equal distribution among those three?
Well, in healthcare, I would say it's protecting and growing what we have.
Mhm.
We've come up with other products. I mentioned showers. We have a shower system that, Legionella is a big deal in various parts in the US. And one of the issues is stagnant water. Well, we
Mm.
came up with a fairly straightforward solution to draining the water out of the shower column, which is the space of water between the shower valve and the shower head. So there's no stagnant water in that pipe where pathogens such as Legionella can grow. And it's been well received, well beyond what we expected. We had fairly low expectations for it because we're not really big in the shower area. And in the last couple of years, it's really gone on well. So, we may be taking market share from, an existing player that was serving healthcare showers better, but we have a unique solution. So it's not just this down and dirty fight over price. It's we're gonna have a unique solution. And then in the other markets, we then look at, well, is there similar need in other markets? So where else would you have a place where a shower might not be used very much?
Right.
Okay, well, that's a sports stadium, it's locker rooms, it's periodic use, and it sits stagnant where they could have these same concerns. But then increasingly, we've been doing more product development for these other market adjacencies. So touchless faucets with integrated thermostatic protection in them. So you only have to install the faucet and you can protect the user from scalding temperatures without having to put in a secondary device.
I see.
So it's
So you guys are very, very like, obviously the strategy is defined by the unique use case, but then also intersected with the industry as well. And you've leveraged the healthcare success as sort of a bit of a playbook on how to enter a brand new market with a new product solving a problem. That's interesting as a marketing leader and as a marketing function, because there's a business playbook from which you can build the bones of your marketing system. How do you believe, or what do you believe your team's mandate as it relates to marketing, fulfilling, or supporting a business case or a business strategy that is related to penetrating a new market or approaching a new segment? What's your mandate at the end of the day?
Well, our mandate at the end of the day is we end up being responsible for creating that business case. The discussions of where to go tend to start at the highest levels of the business. I'm on the executive team, report to the CEO. So it's, between him and I and the senior vice president of sales, looking at where we think opportunities might be and, what we're hearing from our customers. But then at the end of the day, that comes back to product management and my head of commercial, the commercial product line. Okay, this is our portfolio. If we want to go after this market, what are the gaps? What do we need to do? And then it falls on us to really, what does that opportunity look like? And, one of the things we've done more recently, again, is an input to product development. The commercial product manager walks in lockstep with the new product development manager. And so when we see one of these things that we think might be an opportunity, we've got some latitude. Well, we can do some casual investigations before we launch a formal process. And then we start feeling, something's here. We'll write a project charter and say, this is what we believe the opportunity is. This is the story we want to be able to tell at the end of the day.
Huh.
And then we all agree, yes, this is a project we want to do. And then there's the various stage gates where we commit X resources to get so far. And then we re-examine, all right, do we need to go further? Do we need to do more customer research? And that's something we've been doing more of the last few years. Annually, see, we go to market through two-step distribution. We have independent manufacturers reps as salespeople. So they're not captive salespeople. They rep us as well as 10 or 12 other lines of varying sizes. We're rarely the largest. We're rarely the smallest in the lineup.
Right.
And then we sell through the plumbing wholesale channel.
Right.
So we survey that plumbing wholesale channel annually to get feedback on, well, how we're performing as a business, what more can we do to help you be successful? And then every other year we go out and actually survey the influencers, the architects, the engineers, the contracting base, facility managers, to kind of wrap our arms around it, because we're trying to do, say, historically, the industry in general had been a lot more push focused. Hey, we're going to come up with a product and we're just going to push it through the wholesale channel and hope it sells. And, hope's not a strategy.
Yeah.
So,
hope and pray method.
right. So where the reps are already calling on facilities managers and the specifying engineers, which is good. Okay, what can we do from a marketing perspective then to support the sales team in those efforts before they even get to making that call with the engineer? How do we raise the awareness of Chicago Faucet in these different influencer communities and kind of warm them up? And maybe one of the unique tactics I thought was unique for us that I was skeptical was going to work was appointment setting campaigns. And we did it through emails and social media and a landing page on the website. One of the new products, here's all the unique benefits of it. If you want to talk to an expert, click here and fill out the information. We did that for the first time in the fall of 2021, and we were averaging 7 signups a week.
Interesting. On behalf of the reps or the wholesale. Okay.
Yeah. And so it was, so these were facilities people. They could have been specifying engineers, they could have been architects, but they'd say, yeah, I want to talk to someone. So when someone really wants to talk to someone, that's a good indicator of intent to purchase.
Intent. Yeah.
And are they going to do it? And the fact that, we got 1 a week, let alone 7, just kind of blew me away for, we're just this little faucet company. Who's going to do this? And surprisingly, people were willing to do it. And so it's
so when you say people, sorry to cut you off, when you say people, this experiment or this exercise campaign, targeting the end, either a purchasing manager or an end user, but creating a marketing infrastructure that facilitates transaction between the rep and that person, not bringing them back. Okay.
Yes.
So that's interesting because, when you talk about marketing, and one of its main roles is to understand the unique problems and pain points of the segment and then build marketing systems to fulfill those. You're kind of dealing with 2 segments at once. You're dipping your toe into the purchasing manager's psyche and decision making, but you're also building the marketing infrastructure to solve the problems of the rep network or the wholesale network at the same time.
Yes.
That's no small task.
No, well, as I tell, one of the mandates to my team is I constantly remind them, marketing is a service organization. And,
what do you mean by that? Yeah.
Well, we just don't get to go on our own merry way and do whatever we want. We have, one of our main requirements is to provide materials to our sales team to help them go out and be effective when talking to their customers.
Right.
And we develop that, and it doesn't come out of a vacuum. Many times we've got some great salespeople out there talking to customers all day that they come back and share some of the insights and experiences with us that we can build in with our research and build out and then share across the entire rep network. So it's
Right.
not just the guy in Boise that has the information. It's every rep across North America has the same information and can go out with a consistent message.
Right. That's interesting. How is your, in terms of fulfilling this service, which I like the way you put that, but in terms of fulfilling the mandate, how is your team constructed right now, and where is the majority of the work centered? Is it in groups of people, or is it spread across your team? Tell me about your team.
Okay, so just a little. So when I started, there were 6 people in marketing. Most of it, I would say, they were more product management focused. One person that was more traditional marketing that managed, we worked with primarily 2 agencies, outside agencies, that one did a lot of the creative work and development for Chicago Faucet's brand. The other one did Geberit, the Geberit brand in the US.
Right.
And when we started going down this digital path of, okay, we redid the website, and some of the early insights were, for digital to really yield the benefit, because we're going to be able to track what everyone's doing on the website. We're going to be able to track these campaigns and who's clicking what and downloading, where it all came from. For digital to really work, it all has to be integrated. And the most effective way to have it integrated is to have it in-house.
Mm.
So through some of the cost savings we got through actually redoing the website and moving away from the company that was hosting it when I got here, the money that was freed up from that, I could justify creating the role of digital marketing manager.
Right.
And brought this person on to help me set up, I kind of had this vision of what this all should look like. And then we brought her in, and then she helped me build it out. Well, we've got our marketing automation platform, for email. We don't really use CRM for Chicago Faucet because of the rep situation, but we use it sporadically. But then what other tools do we need to build all this out and launch a content marketing strategy? So
Right.
that's where we're creating content for all the phases of the buyer's journey. We're casting a wide net to bring these people in, and then hopefully move them through to an actual
Right.
intent to purchase point.
Right. Based on that, thank you for sharing that. Based on that, some marketing folks that I've talked to that have, for the same or similar reasons, established their in-house center of excellence. One issue that comes up for them, and I'm curious if it comes up for you and how you've handled that now or in the past, is related to capacity constraints. So sometimes you can't do everything.
That's right.
How do you approach that?
Well, part of it's, working with, at the highest level, it's one, getting agreement with the sales team on what they really need first.
Prioritization.
And it's these, and understanding what are going to be the bigger impacts to the business. And the challenge, we are a very specification driven business.
Yeah.
And so nominally, from the time a product gets launched, it can be 9 to 18 months before we see significant sales of it. Really long sales cycle. So part of it is prioritizing what are the key markets, what are the key products, do we have all the assets for them? It's really saying no to distractions. Like you probably get 5,000 emails a day unsolicited.
Yeah.
I get all the outreach from LinkedIn of, hey,
could you use more leads? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the great thing is, and you probably get it, is, hey, I noticed we've got common interest. We should connect. And then the next message is, let me tell you about my software. And it's like, no.
Nobody cares.
And what I've done with the team is also set up the expectation. There was a lot of people coming to me saying, well, I got this from our agency, or someone emailed me about platform X or ad opportunity Y or whatever.
Huh.
What do you think? And I've told everyone, if you're going to come to me and just say, what do you think, and not put any effort into it yourself, the answer is automatically no.
Yeah.
We're not
Yeah.
going to do it. We have, that is not going to make or break our year.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to be here and be the decider of it. I've already decided it's no. If it's not worth your time to dig into it and put some thought, hey, maybe this is worth it, and then let's have a dialogue about it. But otherwise, there's a lot of things come up that just, the bright shiny objects that show up on a regular basis.
Well, totally. And that's interesting. I think that a really nice nugget to extract here is that, because everyone's faced with capacity constraints at some point, and one of the marks of a true marketing leader, or a leader in these scenarios of capacity constraint, is being the guiding voice of the avoidance of random acts of marketing or shiny object syndrome chasing, right? And almost sheltering maybe a little bit, because some of these ideas can be quite compelling, whether or not they're dreamt up in one's own mind or they come across a LinkedIn outreach. And so keeping the main thing is a daily process. And then even more than that, having the main thing be reverse engineered from the real prioritized needs of the shortest conduit towards revenue, which is the sales teams and those types of things. That's really interesting, and a good reminder that as leaders, that's what we need to be protecting our team from. And I have another question based on what you said, which was these long sales cycles. And so for marketing leaders out there that sell products or services that have long sales cycles, how do you keep the belief and the enthusiasm high around the rest of the executive team when, for a large chunk of time, your function or your department is a big giant cost center? How do you keep the belief when that's the scenario?
I think given a lot of the people on our team and at the executive level are long tenured B2B manufacturing professionals, we all understand it.
Okay.
It's so that's usually not a big challenge. Some of the earlier challenge, though, was making the case for why we have to go in this direction, why we have to do all this digital stuff. And that was part of the other element of change is, I said there were like basically three things that happened that really kind of blew this up. It was a new product, a new audience, and new insights, not just about our current state of digital tools, which was almost non-existent, but it was having the data and the information about how the B2B purchasing environment has changed over the years based on all this readily available information. And I had been exposed to this group. It's now part of Gartner, back at my Siemens days. And they were promoting this whole challenger sales model where, you take what you know about your customer and your business and you create these unique commercial insights. So it's all about being a thought leader.
Right.
But when they're showing that the B2B purchaser does all this investigation, these 70% of the way through the buying process before he reaches out to a salesperson, if we're not there, what's the chance he's going to call? Because the sales guy can't cover everybody. So that started to lay the groundwork for, okay, we really need to take this seriously. And the fact that we had money that could be repurposed to do it, and as I said, the team was 6 when I started. Now it's 8. So I ended up I've got 2 dedicated digital people. And so I basically got the team split in 2. I've got 4 people on product management and 4 people around marketing, because one of the other requests was everybody was kind of all over the place, and we really need our roles and responsibilities clarified.
Yeah.
And so that's what I was able to do through some of this as well.
Well, that's interesting and good for you. That's impressive because you come into a scenario like that where it'd be very easy to maintain status quo and just do it the way the industry has done it. But for you to actually care about the customer buying cycle and what fulfills their need, and then taking that a step further to establish demand generation activity in that time, that's hard to do in the best
Well,
of times, never mind just coming onto the scene, right?
yeah. Believe me, there were evenings where I questioned, why did I do that? Why didn't I
Well,
just do the status quo?
and that's what
But
I was going to say, is that belief. How do you as the leader keep the belief? Because with these sales cycles and these programs that you're trying to put in place, it's not like you can cut 5 times and see which work. You got to kind of like commit to a vision and then see it through, right? And that takes a lot of
OCD.
yeah, there it is. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just, well, and that's it. And I've seen this in every company I've worked at. The challenge everywhere is, especially when you are so familiar with the product,
Hmm.
you do get a little lax. And we have our own vernacular for things internally versus how we might talk about them outside. And just as the shortcut, because we're all so familiar with it, we don't have to go through the
Yeah. Yeah.
10
Yeah.
bullet points every day. But that's kind of my role, is to step back and say, all right, everybody, we're getting lazy with how we talk about things. We really have to be
Right.
disciplined about it, because it's going to be unclear for the customer.
Right. And that's
And,
key.
and it is hard. It is. I don't know any good system for it other than little post-it notes all over the place.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, whatever works for you, right?
Yeah.
You referenced 3 factors that sort of initiated this transformation. You didn't mention competitors. Like, were there other groups already on the fast track in terms of digital marketing maturity and finding ways to generate this demand in that
Oh yeah.
research phase?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I don't think we were all the way at the back of the pack,
Hmm.
but clearly a lot of our larger competitors I think, I don't remember how old our website was, but it was the original website, dating back to the early 2000s.
Wow, yeah.
So it was an older platform. It was a proprietary CMS, uh, and it really had never been updated and refreshed. And one of the companies I used to work for in the same time period, I think they've rebuilt their website 4 times
Yeah.
and invested in it. And I would say there were other things the company was focused on after we were purchased by Geberit in 2002. There was a bigger focus on streamlining manufacturing and doing some improvements there,
Hmm.
and needing to clean that piece up before we invested too much more in the marketing side.
Yeah. Given that everything you've explained to me and painting a really good picture, what's the biggest challenge that you guys are excited about tackling next? Because I often think, if you have a team of 8 and you got a good way of working together, challenges become fun, unique opportunities. What are you guys about to sink your teeth into? Or maybe you're right in the middle of the entree now.
We're kind of in the middle of it. We're
Yeah.
looking at what are what's going on in the market. We've got some you know expanded healthcare offerings coming out later this summer. We'll It's too early to talk about, but we'll announce it hopefully at the ASHE conference, which is the American Society of Healthcare Engineers, in San Antonio in August.
Sounds like a party.
Well, I joke, somebody lost a bet if we're having a trade show in San Antonio in August.
Yeah, with a bunch of engineers. I love it.
Oh, yeah. Well, San Antonio is very warm and humid
Yeah.
now. In
Jeez.
August, it's going to be not the most fun place to be, but I think it's a great show. We have great turnout and response. Um, but yeah, a lot of that planning is we're kind of in that phase right now. But it is challenging. I think there are pieces of the digital roadmap that we still haven't built out. We've played around with, we've tested. One of the things we did test a little bit last year was chatbots, and got some really good experience with that. But now we tested it out, as you know, but now to make it real, now it becomes a project. Now it becomes work.
Right.
What does that look like? And
And if you're allocating resources and time there, where are you reallocating from? And it's this balance game.
And one of the things we did too is we kind of blew things up a little bit and insourced so much, I was able to, optimize the budget, the marketing budget better. And we also utilize more smaller agencies. We use a larger number of agencies than we used to. And we do a lot more with freelancers and specialists, rather than going to one agency and saying, well, you go find me a healthcare writer to do these articles or these white papers. My digital marketing manager will go out and do that, and we'll have that direct relationship.
Yeah, no, that's good. I wish I was like as popular as Joe Rogan. I could have 2.5-hour interviews because I have like 15 more questions. But maybe we'll do a follow up. I have one more question I'm curious about, and that is, what. And I don't want to put you on the spot, but what do you claim to be your superpowers that set you up to be the the best marketing leader possible? What do you think? What's your red cape? You can brag about yourself.
I just think it's the feedback that's always been played back to me is largely been the cool, calm, cool, collected, head of reason. I'm willing to listen to anybody and everyone. I don't shut people out just because, well, it's Joe in accounting. It's
always Joe in accounting.
We'll listen. Yeah, Bob in accountants. We'll listen to anyone. Doesn't mean we'll act on it, but give everyone a chance. And our former CEO, I asked him one time, and he I think I surprised him with the question. And he said, you're the first marketing person who doesn't seem to just like think stuff up in the shower on any given morning and say, hey, let's try this. It's, you give it some thoughtful consideration, you come with a plan, try to bring others along with. And I think that's the thing is it's not just the Rick show. It's say, I've got 8 people, and I have to figure out how to leverage their superpowers and identify what their individual strengths are. And that was probably the one other thing that was played back to me is that being able to identify what everyone's really good at. And there was someone on the team, as we brought in these different platforms, I put one of the team members in charge of it because I knew his background. He'd been doing similar work already. And after about 6 or 9 months of it, I asked him how it was going. He's like, you know what? I really do enjoy this more than I thought I would. And okay, yeah, it's because, sometimes as the outside observer, you see things that others don't. And we all need that. I mean, that's helpful to have people I can ask and say, okay, what am I missing? What are my thoughts?
That's amazing. Just the idea of when the bullets are flying and you look to your leader and they're calm, they're cool, they're collected, they're calculated. They know that they have an audience with you, whether or not it gets implemented or not. I think is so reassuring in steadying waves of individuals' careers, not to mention the market that they're trying to build projects for. And then the next thing is that understanding people's unique strengths, whether you're like a Clifton Strengths group or whatever, this or that, and then building the role around the person as a way to, I don't know, give them more utility in their work or fulfillment and ultimately effectiveness. I mean, that's inspiring as a leader. And I'm really glad that we had this chance to chat, because it's serving my mission so well as it relates to getting these perspectives. And I encourage other marketing leaders to be that steady, calm, voice of reason in times of chaos, and organize people and teams around their individual strengths. So that's a really great reminder. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Well, as I said, I wish we could chat forever. I like leaving people with cliffhangers, but don't be surprised, Rick, if some of the audience sort of DMs you. It's happened in the past with guests about things that they're struggling with. Maybe there's something you talked about that resonates with them. So I'm sure this won't be the last time we talk, but I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for reaching out, Caleb. It was great talking to you. And certainly if you want to do a follow-up anytime, just let me know. And yeah, if anyone's, wants to shoot me a note, I'm on LinkedIn, easy to find.
Yeah.
And I'd love to hear from anyone.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It's my guest, Rick Nortier from Chicago Faucet Company. Thanks so much.
Thank you.